There is nothing. Only warm primordial blackness. Your conscious ferments in it. No larger than a single grain of malt. You don't have to do anything anymore. Ever. Never, ever. An inordinate amount of time passes. It is utterly void of struggle. No ex-wives are contained within it. You got it, sweet brother. Nothing upon nothing upon nothing. Coming right up, sir. Smooth passage. All right. Nothing town to fuck all borough. Not you. Your days of giving a shit and being that type of animal are over. The song of death is sweet and endless. But what is this? Somewhere in the sore, bloated man meet around you. A sensation. Like a fly to the ointment, your conscience sticks to it. The limbed and headed machine of pain and undignified suffering is firing up again. It wants to walk the desert, hurting, longing, dancing to disco music.
The stench of liquor rises from your mouth, and with it, an ungodly headache. The fiery streak penetrates your skull, trying to force your eyes open. It's a sound, a clarion call from hell.
A mirror hangs above a bent and broken sink. In a fierce discharge of masculine energy, someone has ripped half the faucet off. Hot water sprays from the base, and steam covers the mirror. You cannot see yourself, just the outline of a man. Suddenly, you realize you have no memory of the face that awaits you there, underneath the soft vapor. As you slowly reach your hand towards the surface of the mirror, behold, you have no idea who this thing is, do you? It appears you're also dead. There's clearly rigor mortis on your face. Or wait, is that an expression? Are you trying to make an expression with that face? Why? Please stop. It's horrible. You're scaring yourself. You can't, can you? It's like it's not even voluntary anymore. You have worn that grin into your face, and now it won't come off. What does it even mean? What is the emotion you're trying to convey? You should check yourself for a pulse, superstar. From here it looks like a cadaverous spasm. You find no sign of life on your swollen neck. However, putting your hand on your chest reveals an irregular heartbeat. You appear to be alive, for now. Like the rest of you, it comes from a bad place, somewhere in the past. That's all you know, for now. You hear a jingle. Keys are clinking in the pocket of your flare-cut pants. It says, whirling in rags, on the aluminium keyring. There is a single key on the ring. The number 1 is etched on it. It should open the door. This fan has 2 chain pull switches. One ends in a tiny fan, the other in a light. You reach out to grab the tie. But what's this? Diffuse, radiating chest pain. This is bad. Feels like sharp stones grinding in your chest and keeping you from moving. For quite a long time, still ongoing. Now, finally, the pressure recedes. You find yourself covered in cold sweat and trying not to move, hoping it will keep you from dying. You know what you should do. You should stop the fan and then try again. It'll get easier. Do it if you want to die. The stabbing pain in your chest is telling. The blades come squeaking to a halt. It should be easier to reach the tie now. You swoop up and catch the tie. What you have in your hand is a truly hideous necktie with 4 or 5 different patterns. The knot reminds you of a noose. A terrible mistake. Turn the lights off immediately. You can practically feel it's just a little hangover-induced photo. The lights are off. The switch must be broken because nothing happens. The air in the room.
Hello, officer. Hello, officer.
The young woman raises a cigarette to her lips. Her eyes are brown and her face is speckled with birthmarks. She can't be more than 28.
No. Because you're a police officer, sir. I am, yes. Unless you've been feeding us a set of very well-rehearsed lies all this time. You've been here for 3 days, on official police business. Couldn't say. In truth, so far, mostly drinking. Could it be because of the drinking?
She hasn't had time to put her makeup on. This is her morning cigarette. She looks tired, her beauty waning faster than it ought to at her age.
Don't be so harsh on yourself. They let almost anyone be a police officer. Could it be because of the drinking?
She hasn't had time to put her makeup on. This is her morning cigarette. She looks tired, her beauty waning faster than it ought to at her age.
Of course. Be careful, officer. They don't like the police around here.
Something stirs in you as she's about to go. Call it an instinct, a need. The need to ask questions. It's like you said the words 1,000,000 times before. She looks back at you, a light glinting off her eyes.
Yes? There was the usual ruckus. Loud disco music. I couldn't say. It's impossible to hear people speaking from over here. Oh, yes. Various artists. Ostentatious orchestration prime among them. Oh, were huge. It would appear so. At around 2 o'clock, the disco stopped and there was a change of pace. A slow, sad song started playing, like organ music on repeat. That went on for quite a while. Some of the time, you were yelling along to it. That it doesn't matter anymore and that we're alone now, it was difficult to tell. The song itself was very quiet and soft, but you sounded like a winded boar, sir. It was hard to understand what you were singing on. Yes, it was very cool. Then you started screaming and trashed the place. No, it didn't sound like there was a fight. It sounded like someone was trashing their room. A window was smashed. A tape player, probably. The song stopped. And furniture, too. There was. I think you screamed that you didn't want to be this type of animal anymore. I may have misheard, but it was sort of memorable.
Sounds like you were in some real fundamental pain there, muscle man.
I went out afterwards. Everything was quiet by then, around 4 or 5. And that was it. The dock workers are pretty cocky. They think they're police enough. At least here on the coast. I can't say about the rest of the city. The dock workers are pretty cocky. They think they're police enough. You're in a hostel, sir. We are in Revachol. Forever and ever.
And ever and ever. Out of the corner of your eye, you see the hair on the back of your hand standing on end. It feels as though low-grade lightning is coursing through you. You must be hypersensitive from the hangover.
It's 51. The current century? Centuries don't have numbers. They have names. Civilization has existed for 8,000 years, sir. Yeah? Glad to have been of assistance.
You should pick that fat, juicy cigarette butt from the tray, light it up, and smoke the living shit. Who knows what you are? A monster, a murderer, The gnome of Jeroma? You feel like a smoker, especially when you look at that juicy, succulent, seductive cigarette stub. Still, how very astute of you. This renders it ineffectual. You should look for a whole cigarette, or better yet, an entire pack. Strike that, a carton. Make sure they're all healthy and able-bodied, then smoke them all. Good. They'll make you stronger and better. You're too old to be cool now. But find cigarettes, smoke them, blam. Instantly a cool renegade man. A mystical red dragon with smoke rising from his nostrils. Plus, smoking then gives massive bonuses. The door is closed. This door can only be opened as you hold the metal. You sense the warmth left there by her hand. There is no answer. You hear the shower being turned on somewhere inside. Still no answer. This door can only be opened as you hold the metal. You still nothing. You should punch a fucking hole in it. You slam your fist into the vinyl. It does not produce a hole. The door sits sturdily in the frame, and your fist hurts. This was all a very good, normal thing to do. Not to mention, great exercise. Still nothing. You should punch a fucking... That felt good. Everyone is a whore. Now punch a hole in the door. You slam your fist into the vinyl. It does not produce a hole. The door sits sturdily in the frame, and you're... Not to mention, great. Still, you should punch a fucking hole. That felt. You slam your fist into the vinyl. Not to mention,
Hello, sweetie. You shouldn't keep your colleague waiting.
A man in his late 20s stands behind the counter, inspecting a stuffed seabird. As you approach, he gives you a sideways glance, then looks down again. Everything is cool between you and this guy. He's a big fan. Make some small talk. A competent work of taxidermy. The white and brown seabird lies among piles of coasters and drying mugs. One of its wings broken. The man is trying to mend it. Looks like the bird was ripped off the shield that was used to mount it, most likely on a wall. A small engraved steel tag says, "The Great Skua, Ste Koarius Skua."
Look, your buddy is over there. Why don't you go and talk to him, okay?
He pretends not to hear you, concentrating on the bird instead.
No, I'm not the bartender. I'm the cafeteria manager.
He's very animated all of a sudden.
That period of my life is over. Not everyone who stands behind a counter is a bartender, okay? I have 3 cafeterias to manage. 3. Sylvie tends the bar here, not me. She just, you know.
A competent work of taxidermy. The white and brown seabird lies among, looks like a small engraved steel tag says,
Look, your buddy is... Why don't you go and talk...
He pretends not to hear you, concentrating. He looks one with the table. It would a colorful piece of plastic is dangling from his carabiner. On the counter, rolled out of his open hand, you see a blister pack of headache medicine. It's a dock worker's ID, doubling as a shift card and a job permit. A young, able-bodied man stares back at you from the photo. Santiago S. You gently shake his shoulder, but nothing happens. This man could probably sleep soundly in a ship's engine room. The man does not mind. You probably need them more than he does.
You've just picked up some magnesium. This item is stored in the bottom left corner of the screen above your character portrait. Use magnesium to heal your morale if you have morale damage.
It's a dock worker's ID, doubling as a shift card and a job permit. It's a dock worker's ID, doubling as a shift card and a job permit. A young, able... Your fingers find their way into the shackle, flicking open its spring-loaded gate. The metal loop holds the plastic ID and a leather-bound pocketbook. The man emits a loud snore. Is he about to wake up? Doesn't look like it. But you find a black paper note with a woman's profile on it. Seems like this woman lived centuries ago. The note says, 5 real. It feels nice and greasy. You slip the plastic ID card out of the loop and pocket it. The man continues to snore. The sleeping dock worker has little to say about your actions. He remains silent. The worker is in a deep slumber. The worker is in a deep slumber. A bespectacled man in an orange bomber jacket is tapping his... As you approach, he narrows his... On the sleeve of his bomber jacket, as well as on its back, are the same enigmatic white rectangles as on your blazer.
Hello. I'm Kim Kitsuragi, Lieutenant, Precinct 57. You must be from the 41st.
You realize he is waiting for your name.
Okay, then. It looks like we had a little scheduling error on Sunday. Saturday too, actually. Have you had time to talk to the manager here? If you don't mind, we should talk to him again. Ask him for a rundown of the area. Now that I'm here as well. It also wouldn't hurt to assure him the police are finally here. In full force, I mean. Have you mapped out the initial interviews? Right. And the interviews? Okay. We'll have time for that after we take a look at the coroner's case. Have you removed the dead body from the tree? Mm-hmm. Does that mean the body is no longer in the tree? Sure. But did you take it down from the tree? So, the body is still in the tree, where it has been hanging for 7 days straight.
What a shame. Get to it now. Rip that body down from the tree.
I was sent here to meet a detective from Precinct 41. You have the insignia. I suppose you could be impersonating him. You could have gotten the insignia from the black market or internal affairs. And I'm not them. Yes. They are not just white rectangles. They bear a halogen watermark with... I would ask you to step into the headlights of my motor carriage. But you mean you don't have a badge? Oh. If you didn't have your badge, then that would be very bad. You would need to report it on my shortwave. But since you do have it, talk to the manager. Then we go after it's been up.
Delicate goods, filled with stinking horrors.
Talk to the manager. Then we go out back after you.
Lieutenant Kitsuragi is now in your party. You can talk to him whenever by interacting with him.
Hello again.
The lieutenant nods. Wait, who's Sweetie?
You're a handsome man, officer, with your mustache and your chiseled jaw, but dear, you're not for me. I'm too old and too married besides. You must forgive me. I'm getting so scattered. I'm Lena. My husband Morel and I are staying with our friend Gary just down the street, but I come here for tea when they're away.
This Lena is wacky enough for the motley crew.
Whatever do you mean? Oh, no. I haven't smoked in years.
She shakes her head. Wait, maybe she knows where you can get cigarettes. Delicious toasty.
You should really ask someone younger and more mobile, sweetie. I'm glad. Yes, officer. You know where we are, right? That's right. In a hostel called the Whirling in Rags, to be precise. How would I even begin to tell you? Revachol is the most... I haven't seen very many other cities personally, but speaking of history, you know what year it is. That's right, dear. How splendid. Here, take this pen. Knowledge should always be rewarded.
Her relief is palpable. She was outside. The melting snow seeps into the cracks in the wall.
I can tell that this is taxing for you, so I'll just ask one more question. Oh, sweetie. It's Revachol is a zone of control led by an... Oh, dear. And you were doing so well. There aren't any cops in Revachol, not in the traditional sense. But we should stop for today, sweetie. You look like you need a break.
She's scared now. She's realized...
A defeat, I'm afraid. The people of this archipelago, it has something to do with everything. You were doing quite well.
A sigh. The lieutenant buries his nose in his note.
But maybe a fresh... someone more educated in sweeping.
No. I'm not an encyclopedia.
Of course. Then I don't know. Someone rich, maybe? Wealthy people are educated. Though I don't know.
That's a good point. This doesn't look like Rich Central.
Yes, officer. Oh my. You know where we are, right? That's right. And we're in the city of Rev. How would I even be? I haven't seen. Speaking of history, you're joking. You're joking. You're joking. Try again, one more time. Perhaps, dear.
The lieutenant studies you. I'm beginning to suspect that you might indeed be completely adrift in this reality, thinks the lieutenant. Outside, the melting snow seeps into the cracks in the walls and the cobblestone streets, all the way down into the sewers. Above ground, the first Maybells blossom. You can feel it.
I can tell that this is taxing for you, so... Oh, no.
Of course.
It is quite... Oh, dear. But we
She's scared now.
You didn't do too well, dear.
A sigh.
But maybe a fresh set of eyes. Someone...
No.
Of course.
That's a good point. This doesn't look like Rich Central.
Whatever do you mean? Ah, yes. Yes, dear. I'm a paraplegic. It means I can't use my legs. Oh, no.
She blushes.
I was a trainee. You'd think it would be... I was lucky. I hope not, but not you.
So you volunteered sometime in...
That's quite all right. I'm used to people asking questions. I know that. Whatever do you mean? Sequence killers? Oh, my.
A partner who needs you to help.
Yes, and it seemed... And even if he weren't there, I don't think you'd have much use for me. I really would like to help out, but of course, dear.
The man...
Mr. Gart.
Yes?
I am Kim Kitsuragi from Precinct 57.
What? What is this? A joke to you? Is this what you...
Sir, I understand your concern.
Yes, of course.
I know it took us...
No, I...
Do you have her...
As a matter of fact, I...
This sounds like something you can...
You said you just got here. From where?
What, of Martinez? No.
But you still know your way around.
Yes, I know where some things are, but as I said, I don't live here. I just used to work here. And I'm not going to start working here again, if that's what you think.
I didn't imply that. Detective. I have everything. You? The body was behind the building, right? How do we get there?
Behind this building, there's a court.
And how do we get there?
See that door there? Go out.
Let's go.
Not so fast. You owe me 130 real.
As you blow this joint, behind you, a whiny voice shouts.
Real mature man.